Alright, we're back. Sorry for the late. I got a little sick last week. I mean, you probably saw the live video where it didn't have a face cam. I was looking a little ugly. But I'm back. I'm feeling good. And yeah, let's catch up. This was week 4. Unfortunately, I didn't catch a screen grab of the standings after week 4. So you're going to have to wait till next week to see where everybody's at. But if you're following along at home, you can kind of catch up with just watching how every game ends. But we're going to start off here with Graham and Ty. So this game I want to talk about a little bit in terms of like how to break down a team and like the various stages of the game. It's not going to be super in-depth, but it's going to be more in-depth than some of the other games I'm going to talk about. So just like right straight up in the team preview, right? If I'm Ty, I'm looking at Metagross, and I'm like, wow, this thing kind of goes really hard, right? Like, if it's some sort of defensive set, especially like AV, Terapagos isn't really doing a lot to it. Kilowattrel, especially this week, as Ty being Terra Flying, I believe, is going to have a hard time breaking through it. Obviously, Tinglu looks good, but it resists both of Ogerpon's stabs. Moltres looks good into it. Obviously, can't really switch in. Plus, if it's AV, you could like eat a flamethrower plus hit back with a Stone Edge or Rock Slide or something. And then Jirachi's not really doing a whole lot to it unless it's like a Calm Mind variant with like Shadow Ball, right? So Metagross is like looking really good on Graham's side. Gastrodon has a pretty good matchup as well overall. You know, with Storm Drain, if it's Terra Water Kilo, that's not too terrible. Obviously, Gastro needs to kind of go one way or the other. It can't really afford to go mixed on the defenses. It kind of has to commit physical or special. So if it's specially, it's fine, especially for like Moltres and Kilo. I'm sure it can barely get 3-hit KO'd by a Terra Starstorm from Terapagos if it's Spadef. Otherwise, looking at Graham's team into Ty, I know like this is Choice Banded Valiant, this is Booster Energy Moon, this is like an offensive Ninetales. So what I'm looking at is just what jumps straight out from the page on me is that the Iron Valiant is Choice Banded and it's faster than everything other than a potential Scarf on maybe Terapagos, Jirachi, Kilo, Moltres. Obviously, Ogerpon can only wear its mask. But realistically, what are you scarfing on this team? It would really only be Jirachi. That's probably the only viable thing in these 6 that would potentially run a Scarf. And it makes sense for a Valiant, too, to get a Scarf Iron Head off. Or even Flash Cannon if it's special. So yeah, Valiant looks crazy. It can come in and basically just click CC. You have to worry a little bit about Flame Body. But it's going to be doing a good chunk. And you have plenty of like switches for Moltres between Roaring Moon, Gastro, and then obviously like you got your AV Metagross here. Otherwise, Superior looks really annoying, kind of glaring stuff down. Kilo, I guess if you're Graham, you don't know its Terra type yet, but it's not going to appreciate a bunch of Leaf Storms, right? And nothing else appreciates a Glare. Roaring Moon looks really good in the end game. Probably just get a little bit of chip on Tinglu, and you're looking really solid. I guess a Boots Terra Shell Terapagos is going to be able to live any hit, but if you get like Hazards up, get a little chip, really save that for end game, it's going to look pretty good. So let's hop into the game. That's just my initial thoughts and how I'm kind of breaking this down. And I guess one more thing with the Roaring Moon in the end game, right? Like Tinglu is generally going to be running Whirlwind. That's a very common thing that it's going to be packing. So you wouldn't want to kind of blow your Dragon Dance Booster Energy Moon early because it's not going to be able to one-hit Tinglu and just get Whirlwinded out into something else. So here we see Graham has a really positive matchup here on turn 1. Unfortunate crit on the U-turn mattered. Alright, Terapagos comes in, and the rocks go up. Okay. And so Terapagos was just in, and Graham went straight into Roaring Moon. So yeah, like that seemed aggressive, right? Like you have Gastro. If you're predicting any move from Terapagos, it's either Terra Starstorm or it's Rapid Spin in that situation, right? You got rocks up, you can spin them away, get the speed boost. I mean, maybe Gastro, I don't remember its spread, maybe it's not Spadef and wouldn't want to sit in there, but like you had good health, right? Plus lefties. Probably you're living a hit. Could be an opportunity to break a Terra Shell on that Terapagos. You know, you didn't see the items because it came in without hazards, but all that is to say, I probably would not have gone Moon immediately, especially because like Moon's not going to be able to eat 2 Starstorms. Like if you switched in on that attack, and he still has Terra Shell active, you know, your Moon is doing maybe 20% with knockoff back to it. You know, from the ability and everything. So like you kind of wasted your booster energy here by going Moon. Okay, so that confirms Scarf Jirachi, which makes a lot of sense. And just a knockoff here. Respectable 18% into Ting-Lu. Honestly, you know, you make that double. Both sides made a double, right? Nobody attacked on that turn. Went from that to that. You know, this looks like a good opportunity if I'm Graham to just Dragon Dance. Yeah, Ting-Lu comes in, probably, but you're forcing a Whirlwind instead of what actually happened, where it ended up being a ton of damage and then you ended up losing Roaring Moon. Yes, it's good to chip down Ting-Lu, but like that's honestly what Valiant was here for this week. I think Valiant's role was to get this lower, or, you know, letting some of the other pieces, especially Ninetales. Ninetales is interesting because it's not too offensive immediately, where you wouldn't be too scared with a Vessel of Ruin Ting-Lu to come in, even though you're a ground type. And that could have been an opportunity to chip it down for Roaring Moon, because clearly, even with the Proto attack, it was not doing a ton. So yeah, and you just get into the situation where you start taking health on it, and it's like, all right, well, now I just kind of have to throw it away. Meanwhile, you could have just DD'd on the Jirachi and then gotten the Whirlwind the next turn, and then, you know, you don't have hazards up. The worst that happens is that you lost your booster energy, but, you know, that feels like a better trade than taking, you know, 70-something on Ting-Lu for losing your Roaring Moon. All right, so here we go. Let's see. Yep, it's Rapid Spin, and then this was a great candidate for Heat of the Week. However, it was one-upped later on. We'll get to that. We got the Leaf Storm into the Moltres, which happens to be Mirror Herb. Just outrageous. I don't know how you get the nuts to not run Boots on Moltres, but Ty pulled it off, and that was sick. Yeah, so essentially it's like the fake Galarian Moltres, right? It's agility and Mirror Herb for the special attack boost. But alright, we got Gastro coming in here, 90%. Lives the Air Slash, and it's running Hydro Pump. He gets the kill. That was crazy. Did not expect that. Alright, so yeah, we see AV Metagross being a good switch in here to Terra Blast flying off Kilowattrel, right? It does 11%. Especially now that Moltres is gone, you know, this is a good time to just reanalyze the board state, right? Metagross looks insane into all these. You know, it's Choice Scarf Jirachi, so it's not going to like set up on you. Ting-Lu is so weak at this point. You know, you check Ogerpon, totally fine. Terapagos is paralyzed, which is good. It still has Terra Shell, unfortunately, but like Metagross goes so crazy at this point in the game. So that would have been my focus for the rest of the game. Even though it's nice to have like the fast stuff like Valiant and Ninetales and Serp around, Metagross just isn't super crazy pressured. Knockoff off of Cornerstone would definitely hurt. So like, you know, you got to keep pieces around, but you can just go into Valiant, right? Like eat the knockoff and keep it moving. But what we see here is Metagross just stays in and just takes a ton of damage, right? I mean, it was dishing stuff out, like stuff is getting chipped. But I think Metagross would have been more of my endgame play. Let's see. Yeah, so Jirachi was locked into Shadow Ball on killing Metagross there, and you know it's Scarfed. I guess Rocks makes it tough to go Ninetales. But I guess Valiant is fine because you're never really going to be able to kill Kilowattrel because it's faster than you anyway. So yeah, sack Astro, go Ninetales, freeze dry on the Ting Lu sack, and then yeah, everything is. The most unfortunate part is that Sturdy is still up here, right? Not having. I mean, you had to deal with the Moltres with your Gastrodon. It's not like that was really a choice. But yeah, the yeah, I don't know if there was another opportunity to get rocks up actually to break the Sturdy. Would have been nice to be able to keep Roaring Moon around though. You know, and then possibly bring this down to Sturdy. Then Valiant can handle it. You know, there's a couple options with that at least. But then yeah, we see the Trailblaze. It's faster than the Serp and gets the kill with Ivy Cudgel. But yeah, like obviously that was a really intense game and everything got really chipped on Ty's side, so it's not like he kind of walked through this for free. But I think if Graham was able to identify that Metagross looks so good in the mid game and you prioritize that a little bit, you're able to get more chip down. And now these things that are chipped are actually dead in the end game. And who knows, maybe you don't have a fast spawn left over, but like nothing was really killing Metagross quickly. So that could have been the option. Plus, once you see like Jirachi locked into Shadow Ball, maybe that's your opportunity to go into Roaring Moon and get a Dragon Dance at that point, potentially. So, yeah, that's just my thoughts on that. We'll keep it moving. All right, Joe and Cordell, you guys know what's coming. You know it. Say it with me. Say it with me. Delphox stole my Gucci scarf. Give me that Eviolite. Joe's loving this White Herb Overheat Delphox, and I don't blame him because it's been working every week. It's pretty cool. So this is another game I want to talk about from like this board state. Sneasler looks really good at this point. Like, you had a little bit of chip on Scizor. You lost the Eviolate on Gliscor, so that's no longer really checking you. Yeah, this should be a game where Sneasler just kind of comes in and clicks buttons. Another important thing to note with this is Sneasler's already faster than everything here. Like, yeah, you have Prio on Azu and Scizor, but you're not worried about getting grassy terrain up. And if we kind of watch through here as we get to the end game, Scizor keeps defogging, getting rid of the terrain, and it kind of forces Joe to end up trying to get the Grassy Seed to proc, but he ends up coming in on a dual wing beat and barely lives. I think Joe didn't have to force it as hard as he was to get the terrain up for Sneasler, and he probably would have been in a better position. Just letting Sneasler kind of just click buttons, right? Sure, he goes into Scizor on a Dire Claw and then switches back to Azu on a CC, and then, you know, you're in range of Bullet Punch or Aqua Jet or something, but you at least have more options than just kind of letting your stuff die so you can finally get the grassy terrain, and then when you do get the grassy terrain, you come in at 2%, right? So that's kind of my takeaway from that. But the Magician Overheat was pretty hot. All right, my game versus Tan. This week I did way more research than anybody realistically ever should on how the beat-up mechanics work, and I figured it out. That's my secret. That's not for y'all, but I figured it out. And we got Mousehold here. I got the rocks up. I could go for the Tidy Up, and I considered it, but Breloom with Mach Punch was just going to completely eat me. So I figured just getting my damage down, because if I do Tidy Up, sure, maybe I kill whatever ends up coming in anyway. And honestly, yeah, in hindsight, we'll see. It was probably worth it. But this is more of the story of Icarus, right? So I go for the Pop Bomb. Yeah, I could have just went for the Tidy Up. It wouldn't have mattered. Plus, if it was like Scarf Gengar, it would have been a little safer too. But I get the beat up tech off, so that was cool. All right. I brought Safety Goggles Zapdos, specifically for Breloom. I'm not worried about the rocks going up. Like, if the rocks go up, I drop my speed, it's realistically okay, because I'm not letting anything else set up on his team. But I go, oh, I got Mousehold in here. It's looking like a threat. He's going to Mach Punch, because I believe earlier in the game he did Mach Punch into my Mousehold. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to go into my ghost type on the Mach Punch, and I'm going to be chilling, because, like, this is going to look really good. And he goes for the Spore. And then I'm like, all right, fine, whatever. I'm just going to burn some sleep turns. I have Endure Custap Berry on Hoopa with Destiny Bond. I was like, all right, I'll just let him set up and whatever. And I said this during the live game, if you watched it. I was worried about knockoff, and I still decided to just let him do whatever he wanted to me. So there's one turn of sleep, a Terra Ghost. Not that it really mattered, because knockoff was going to kill me anyway. All right, he SDs. And then I go for the Endure here, like an idiot. Knockoff was coming regardless. It didn't matter that I was Terra Ghost. If I was Terra Fairy, maybe he wouldn't have, and it would have worked better. Terra Ghost looked really good in Titan's team, but yeah. So from there, I just I completely threw, because now he can get a free Trailblaze up, and because I am not Boots on Zapdos, I can't live an Ivy Cudgel after rocks. And so I just have to sack everything. But yeah, good set by Tan. My team has been fixed. It will no longer lose to physical water types like that. It will lose to other things. All right, Berg and Don. This is really the main thing I wanted to highlight here. Palafin looked really, really good into Don, especially with like Terra Steel Eggy. Because if Palafin can get like +2 up or whatever, you know, Drain Punch is going to do pretty significant damage if this is whittled down a little bit. Plus Jet Punch for everything else is looking really solid. So really the issue is kind of Serena here, which Rillaboom is EV'd to be 1 point faster than. However, Don, being the madman that he is, brought the Scarf Serena. And that was all she wrote. Scarf Serena was too nice. Also, Eggy just being the fat man that he is, being able to live these hits was pretty clutch too. That way Gudra ended up being in Wicked Blow range. Also, Berg not terroring at any point here. It was, I don't know. You didn't want to, like, you have Sap Sipper, so he's not going to Leaf Storm. You know, you can, I don't know if it actually keeps him out of Wicked Blow range, but that may have been an optimization for that game. But mostly what I wanted to highlight is Scarf Serena. Just absolutely perfect set into Berg that week, so well done. All right. You guys know what time it is. Yeah. Somebody said Heat of the Week. Here we go. Here we go. Annihilape on the Ursaluna. Eats the Blood Moon because it's a Chilan Berry Annihilape. How sick is that? However, that's not the heat. Encored and Blood Moon again! Yeah, obviously Demo did not know about that. I didn't know about that. Everybody in chat didn't know about that. We all learned that Blood Moon will work a second time if encored. So yeah, that was pretty cool. That ended up kind of opening up the game a little bit for Dodge, which the other thing I wanted to highlight, really close back and forth game, like really, really well played. Argument definitely for game of the week. But we see Ditto comes in. We got Sandy Shocks and a very healthy Terra Fairy Dunsparce. Body press on that. You know, Earth Power is probably the optimal play. But Dodge would have... He needed to win a speed tie or get the Quick Claw right there. So he did get the Quick Claw. Would have killed Sandy Shocks. Alright, Earth Power does 33 as rocks go up. So the rocks were important for the Pecharunt, right? That way it couldn't just come in on Dunsparce and like recover up and be outside of Earth Power range. Because Pecharunt definitely had a chance to win the game from here. So I totally understand that. There was another possibility that like Demo goes for Roost on the Earth Power that turn, and that also actually would have ended up winning him the game from here. But Dodge kept the Terra in the back pocket. It goes Terra Stellar, and Earth Power did 33 the first time and did 42 the second time. Now, because of the rocks, this still comes down to a speed tie plus Quick Claw. and Dodge ends up winning it. Well, actually, he got the quick claw on that turn. Odds were in his favor for sure. You know, it was somewhere around like 60% at least. But yeah, that was a really, really fun game, and actually seeing Ditto with Terra Stellar put in work was really cool. All right, Tommy versus E. This one, I just want to make everybody in the league aware that he's not above the hacks. So early on in the game, we saw T-Wave come out from Dragapult into Infernape, and then he hexed it afterwards. So Gambit on Pult. This looks like a really good place for Tommy to be in, especially considering everything else. You got a pretty healthy Gloking for like the Rotom and the Diancie. Yeah, so let's just get it over with. T-Wave, Para. That, we're looking at a dead Dragapult if that Kowtow connects right there. Yeah, just a tough look. Really, really tough look for Tommy. Tommy ended up getting like pretty unlucky, because we're just going to fast forward here a little bit, because it's going to come down to this one turn. We got Slowking still here at 57%, but you see it has slack off, so it's got recovery. Yeah, Rotom's only hitting with Volt Switch Overheat. Diancie we haven't seen an attacking move from yet, and we got the full set from Pult. Well, oh yeah, here we go. So we get a T-Wave calling the Kyurem switch in, which is good play. You know, Slowking's probably going to try to back out for some regen. Crit the Hex into Miss Draco. Gloking 1v1's the Rotom at the end game. You know, it ends up probably getting like a poison with a Sludge Bomb, and it's able to just wear it down, right? Yeah, 10% of the time you lose 100% of the time, and Pult just picks up the game. So tough looks all around. Yeah, real tough one for Tommy there, but it was a really fun game. GG's to both. All right, now here we go. Game of the week. We're at 22 minutes. All right, I'm not gonna break this down too hard, but this is definitely game of the week. Let me put it up on fast here. All right, knockoffs Sash on the Espeon switch. Does not. I will say MJC did not run Magic Bounce previously on Espeon. It's definitely its better ability than Synchronize, and is probably to be expected every week. Obviously, Nathan just went for the Stealth Rocks, but that's fine. You can just Rapid Spin, get it away, get the kill. It is what it is. Losing Donphan is tough. You know, the electric spam volt switching around, like that's going to be pretty annoying without Donphan. But it's still, obviously, from the Rapid Spin faster than Vikavolt. Gets a big Stone Edge off. Pretty free Heatran. Good call with the Will-O-Wisp, right? You know, like Rhyperior or Rotom's coming in. Both don't really care if you Magma Swarm, because you're just going to end up switching out anyway. Alright, hands on the T-Bolt. Proper switch. Looks good. Drain Punch. All good. Alright, shows off the Fire Punch. Probably didn't need to do that, right? Like, you're living any hit from Yanmega, so I guess in that situation, I'm probably just going for the Drain Punch again. Even if Golden Go comes in, you know, MJC's probably not expecting you to have Fire Punch if you went for the Drain Punch again into the Vikavolt. So that could have been an option where you want to keep your Iron Hands in front of Golden Go, and then you can just blast it with a Fire Punch the next turn. But yeah, obviously MJC sees that. He's not going to go Golden Go because he can't kill from 96%. Goes Rotom. Yeah, that's definitely AV. Hands. And then, yeah, going to Pal. Free momentum for MJC to go Rhyperior. Yeah, I mean, that's definitely the right plane to Pal. You only got 3 Mons left. Here's something. Oh, no, not this. Not this. We'll wait. Okay, Mola. All right, so take note of that, right? Mola eats the T-Bolt and goes back with Liquidation. So at this point, I'm watching this game live. I'm like, oh, okay, Mola does not have Mirror Coat. Because that was such an easy turn just to click Mirror Coat right there and then get rid of the Golden Go, and Chien-Pao just like wins the game from there. Which obviously still would have been a good play, but Nathan's saving that. They don't want to show it off yet. Alright, Heatran comes in. Yep, good Spadef answer. Here's the Magma Storm finally. Yep, all good. Bronzong can switch into this all day, and I think this is, yeah, here we go, Metal Burst. But Rhyperior is actually faster than Bronzong. This is something I actually found out this week, in week 4, when talking to Berg about his team with Cobalion. Metal Burst doesn't have negative priority like Mirror Coat or Counter. It goes off of the Mon speed, but when you see it in like mainline games, right, it's like on a Bastiodon, which is already super slow, so you think you would never have like an inkling that it's just normal speed, right? It would just be negative priority like all the other returning damage moves. So yeah, Metal Burst unfortunately can't do anything to Bronzong here because it's slower. Yep, so Bronzong's able to just get some good damage off here. The Calm Mind is interesting. It kind of makes sense, right? Because you got 2 special attackers left. I don't know if it's more valuable than just keeping the health on Bronzong, though. Especially with, like, the pieces that Nathan has left. Possibly just, you know, getting the kill on this turn and then keeping Bronzong a little bit healthier. Right? Like, this is a net loss, and we'll see here, Bronzong's actually going to get the kill on Rhyperior eventually, and it's not going to be able to do anything afterwards. Meanwhile, maybe with just going for the kill and keeping the health on Bronzong, maybe it can live a hit from something else. You know, it's so bulky naturally already. Unfortunate Spadef drop on Heatran, so it's going to take a ton here from Shadow Ball. Oh, yeah, and then Will-O-Wisp into the ability. Learning lesson for all. Okay, so Heatran unfortunately goes down and doesn't do anything there. Will-O-Wisp, and just kind of going back to that, right? Magma Storm was definitely just the safest play because it's going to get a kill on something. Even if it's Sash and Mega, it's going to trap it and then kill it at the end of the turn. Yeah, so like that, going back to like what I was talking about with Graham and Ty, right? It's identifying the board position at all times. And at this point, there's no fire resist. You know, just click the fire move, get your damage, and keep it rolling. Especially into special attackers that don't really care if their attack gets halved, right? But it's okay, because Chien-Pao can come in, but it's Colbur Berry Golden Go. So cool. So cool. Yeah, Iron Hands, no problem. Comes in, takes care of business. And then we get Terra Ground Yanmega. Looking scary. And at this point, I'm like, oh yeah, well, this is GG, right? Like, yeah, Mega's just going to be able to kill. I was thinking maybe Mola comes in, switches back out just to get some more regen, just to have more health to potentially get like 2 liquidations off. Yeah, that's wishful thinking, I guess. But then we see the Giga Drain does 39%. And then Nathan, against all odds, is packing the Mirror Coat. That was so sick. That was awesome. So yeah, that game was so fun, and congrats to Nathan for their first win in Draft League history. So that was great. But yeah, that's the breakdown for Week 4. Expect the Week 5 breakdown soon, and I will catch you all later. Oh, hey Luna. Hi. You want to say hi to everybody? What? Is it dinner time? Okay, I'm going to go feed you. All right.